Wie die Lügen der US-Regierung gegenüber uns, US-Bürger, gegenüber der ganzen Welt, wie sie fortgesetzt werden und wie sie so frech dann jetzt Snowden verfolgen, als ob er so ein neuer Osama Bin Laden wäre oder sowas. Also vielen Dank, dass ihr hier seid und das ist für uns sehr, sehr wichtig. Ich habe eigentlich nichts vorbereitet, aber ich wollte sagen, dass ich finde, es wäre gerade richtig, wenn Deutschland Asyl anbieten würde. Und zwar in Anbetracht der deutschen Geschichte. Die deutsche Geschichte hat gelehrt, dass gerade im Zweiten Weltkrieg in die USA hat gesagt bei Nürnberg, es ist eine Pflicht, Widerstand zu leisten. Die bestraft werden müssen, sind die Befehle ständig folgen. Und gerade Deutschland kann am besten zeigen, dass man darauf besinnen, dass wir wieder zurück mussten auf die Konsens von internationalem Völkerrecht, die damals erkämpft wurde nach dem Zweiten Weltkrieg. In Deutschland ist gerade das Land, die am besten dieses Signal stehen soll. Und genau aus dem Grund soll Deutschland auch sagen, keine Drohnenangriffe aus Rammstein, alle Sachen, wo diese internationale Völkerrecht und humanitären Recht und Menschenrechte verletzt werden, da muss Deutschland vorne kommen und sagen, wir wissen es noch, wir haben die Lehren verstanden. Und wenn ihr das vergessen habt, too bad. Tschüss, danke.
Ja. Hab ich ja noch nie gemacht. Aber ich merke schon, dass wir jetzt langweilen. Mit langweilt sich nicht so. Andere Leute, die man kennt. Mach da mal gerade Pause.
Auf die Artikel 16a des Grundgesetzes zum Schutz politisch Verfolgter sowie auch.
Hello, I'm Diani Barreto from Free Broadly Manning Network here in Berlin. Thank you for showing up. I would like to thank everybody that made this event happen today on very, very short notice. The CCC, the Valholland Foundation, the Pirate Party, my tireless colleague Nadine Nelken of the Free Broadly Manning Network. And I'd like to thank Brigitte Jonsdottir for calling us on Twitter to celebrate the 4th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution today on the 4th of July. Okay, I think it's a fitting occasion to be reunited here on the Pariser Platz right next to the European Commission, the European Parliament, the French Embassy, the U.S. Embassy, the Reichstag. This is a rappel à l'ordre, recall to order for several reasons. We are calling on our lawmakers, as concerned citizens everywhere, to stand up against the flagrant usurpation of our civil liberties and to demand protections for the citizen Edward Snowden, whom I consider to be a great redeemer of his generation. Lest we forget that on the 12th of October 2012, the EU was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for contributing the advancement of peace, reconciliation, democracy, and human rights in Europe. Well, let us remind them what their duties are. What we have witnessed in the last 48 hours has been a travesty. The EU has bowed down and trampled on the sovereignty by closing the airspace to President Evo Morales in a very bizarre act of intimidation and lawlessness, which serves only to display how servile the world community has become to the American narrative of world affairs. This event was heralded by Edward Snowden's extraordinary act of bravery with his disclosures. We should be very grateful to this young man because he has shown us the great hypocrisy and rampant contempt for the rule of law of sovereign nations. Ladies and gentlemen, the masks have fallen. It is on display for all to see the egregious loss of ethics at the international level between governments and a manifest contempt for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This is a very historic event which has allowed us to gain much insight into our political classes, our gatekeepers of the Fourth Estate, our elites, our institutions, and how our laws are being interpreted in these times of upheaval and great soul-searching. Now that Edward Snowden, the young American who revealed the global monitoring system known as PRISM, has requested asylum in 20 countries, we are bearing witness to how the U.S. government is de facto repealing the Magna Carta after 800 years, and how it is defacing the U.S. Constitution with utter impunity. Yes, they can. Let us remind them that they are party to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that was adopted in 1948 as the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Article 14 says, every human being has the right to seek asylum, and yet the U.S. government is privately pressuring countries to refuse Edward Snowden's request for asylum. One by one, the great nations of the world have shown to what degree they are compromised in a moral corruption which betrays the laws and protections which they held for most sacrosanct. Boo! Let us take Germany, an inspiration to citizens, U.S. citizens like myself and Jacob Appelbaum, for their very progressive constitution. Where asylum was once the humanitarian cornerstone of their society. In one sweep, after much feigned indignation, the Ministry of the Interior says it does not see a basis for Mr. Snowden's asylum bid. Boo! Here in Germany, although Article 22 of the Federal Basic Law does contain the provision to grant him political asylum, the government here says it does not recognize political persecution in the U.S. Well, I'd like to say a couple of words on that. Snowden stated himself, although I am convicted of nothing, the U.S. has unilaterally revoked my passport, leaving me a stateless person. He said, without any judicial order, the administration now seeks to stop me from exercising a basic right, a right that belongs to everybody, the right to seek asylum. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very grave error in judgment made on behalf of your government. It is in fact quite tragic because it displays how the German institutions are failing in monitoring and acknowledging the real situation on the ground in the U.S., where the finest minds of a generation are being sentenced to decades in prison, where secret trials prevail, where the total surveillance state terrorizes anyone willing to challenge the status quo by merely defending their own rights.